Well, it's time for another casual weekend here at Worldview with Dennis Campbell, and you're not going to believe the motherload of crazy we have this week. We had President Obama make a groundbreaking speech on race relations and what it's like to be a black man in the United States. And then, of course, we had Iowa Representative Steve King comparing illegal immigrants to dogs. I think you'll enjoy it, but again, you've been warned. Bring your barf bag.
Because he said it happened to him in the department store. It happened to him while crossing the street. And I wondered out loud, was this when he was at Columbia University and maybe had just gotten out of the van that he writes about in his book, where they closed the windows so none of the pot smoke would escape, so they could inhale more smoke, and he would steal the joint as it was passed around out of turn so he could get another hit. Maybe when he got out of that van and wandered across the street, someone pushed down their button. I mean, you know, he's making it sound like he was walking around as a young man in a shirt and a tie, and this was happening.
You know, he'll be remembered fondly because he chose the progressive way instead, and he transformed the nation in another way, but he had to use hatred to do it.
Talking Points believes the president was correct in addressing the race issue and framing it with the Martin case. He's the leader of America, and the country's talking about this. By the way, when you hear a pundit or politician saying we should have a, quote, conversation about race, that means you're in for a sea of bloviating, which will likely lead nowhere.
Could have been a racially transformative president from the very beginning. He really could have been Abraham Lincoln. He really could have been Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, he had the opportunity.
I think instead he's more of Jeff Davis. He is tearing us apart. He is absolutely tearing us apart. And it's sad. It is probably the biggest waste in American history.
We get out of this racial archaeology and we begin not to ignore problems that still exist, but not be held prisoners forever in a past that most Americans have never personally experienced. I think it is time to stop using this both as a crutch or as a method of stirring up his base, because it doesn't solve anything. It makes people more distrustful of one another, and it convinces people that the justice system of which he is in charge of now is somehow corrupt and dishonest.
I mean, he uses all of the tactics that the Palestinians use. He uses all of the tactics that the not just the race baiters here in America, but the anti-Semites all over the world use to gain control. Blame it on the Jew. Blame it on the Jew. Just blame it on the white people.
I kind of found it interesting that Obama would see himself as Trayvon Martin 35 years ago, given what we've learned about Trayvon Martin, right?
Yeah, that he was...
So Obama would, 35 years ago, have been a burglar prone to assault people and do other kinds of things that were outside the bounds of the law. That's interesting.
The man who is supposed to unite the United States of America is an expert on the most divisive form of politics in existence today that pits people against other people, placing them in little boxes and then convincing those people that you're only in that box because of those people over there. They're the cause of all of your problems.
Race hustlers and the grievance industry have intimidated the so-called conversation, turning any valid criticism of African-American culture into charges of racial bias.
When he refers to young Trayvon Martin, is it the Martin whose picture they were showing in the media, who was about, 13 years old? In which case, I'm not sure. Would he have been back from Indonesia yet? He would have been walking the streets of Indonesia being stalked by his fellow Muslims? I don't know.
I'm sorry, but I've never seen a leader behave this way, ever. Leaders do not blame people. Leaders don't lie for their own personal gain. Crooks do. Leaders tell you the truth, the hard truth. And then, just when you think you're at your lowest, a leader doesn't lean down to you and say, and you know what? You'll never, ever make it without me. They never do that. They inspire you to reach higher than you ever thought you could. That's what a leader does. But not socialist leaders.
We need to build a fence, a wall, and another fence. So we've got 2 patrolling zones. We need to put the sensory devices on top of there. We need to use our boots on the ground in the most effective way possible. No nation should have an open borders policy. No nation should have a blind eye policy towards the enforcement of the laws.
And they will say to me and others who defend the rule of law, we have to do something about the 11 million. And some of them are valedictorians. Well, my answer to that is, and then, by the way, their parents brought them in. It wasn't their fault. It's true in some cases, but they aren't all valedictorians. They weren't all brought in by their parents. For everyone who's a valedictorian, there's another 100 out there that they weigh 130 pounds and they've got calves the size of cantaloupes because they're hauling 75 pounds of marijuana across the desert.
Congressman, you recently compared immigrants to dogs.
No, I didn't. That's a mischaracterization.
Actually, you in a town hall meeting in Iowa.
Look at the original source.
I read it, and many people found it offensive and even racist.
People write things on the internet all the time. But did you watch the video, the full video? That speech was about celebrating legal immigration.
It was not a
legal immigration, and anyone that understands the language and the culture knows that if they saw the video.
In a town hall meeting in Iowa, you actually compare immigrants to dogs.
And you put out a beacon like the Statue of Liberty, and who comes here? The most vigorous from every country that has donated legal immigrants to the United States of America. We got the cream of the crop. We've always had bird dogs around our place, and right now in our family there's a black lab, a white lab, and a yellow lab, and my brother has a chocolate lab. You go in and you look at a litter of pups, and you watch them. You watch them how they play. They run around a little bit. And what do you want? You want a good bird dog, and you want one that's going to be aggressive. Pick the one that's the friskiest, the one that's engaged the most, and not the one that's over there sleeping in the corner. You get the pick of the litter, and you got yourself a pretty good bird dog. Well, we got the pick of every donor civilization on the planet because it's hard to get here. They had to be inspired to come.
I thought you would probably repeat yourself on that. I've told you, if you watched that video, you would know that was a speech celebrating legal immigrants. Legal, not illegal immigrants, legal immigrants. And I said they are the cream of the crop. It's the vigor of America that comes because people from all donor civilizations on the planet want to come here. They dream. We get the best
so you don't want to apologize for that comment,
because of that. That was the speech, and it's been mischaracterized by people on the left. It's been intentionally and dishonestly done so to drive wedges between people on the base of race.
So
and
you
I think it's a sin to do that, Jorge.
So from your point of view, you actually did not compare immigrants to dogs.
No nation can long remain a great nation if they decide to sacrifice the rule of law on the altar of political expediency. No nation like the United States of America can continue to grow and be a strong nation if we are going to judge people because they disagree with our agenda rather than the content of their statement.
Well, that's another edition of Things Your Crazy Right-Wing Tea Party Uncle Says. We want to thank the good folks at Right Wing Watch for the work that they do on a very regular basis to compile these clips because none of us have the stomach to do it on our own.